The cold crept in like an unwelcome visitor as Noah Wilson's spacecraft spiraled toward the icy planet below. Warning lights flashed across the control panel, and the emergency thrusters sputtered in their final death throes. Through the viewport, the white expanse of Keltara 7 grew larger with each passing second. Mayday, mayday, this is Earth Transport Vessel Horizon. Engines failing, trajectory unstable. I'm going down on Keltara 7. Coordinates. Noah frantically typed the numbers into the emergency beacon. Anyone receiving this transmission, please respond. Only static answered his call. Noah gripped the manual controls, fighting to stabilize the descent. The ship groaned under the strain of atmospheric entry metal panels tearing away as the gravitational pull intensified. He'd been on a simple supply run to the outer colonies when the navigation system malfunctioned, sending him far off course into this unexplored sector. Come on, Noah muttered, sweat beading on his forehead despite the failing life support system that had already allowed the cabin temperature to drop significantly. The ship's computer blared warnings as the ground rushed up to meet him. Impact in 10 seconds. Brace for emergency landing. Noah tightened his harness, closed his eyes, and prepared for the worst. The impact came with a deafening crash. Metal tore, glass shattered, and Noah's head slammed forward against the restraints before everything went black. When consciousness returned, Noah found himself staring up at a cracked viewport covered in frost. Pain radiated through his body, particularly intense in his left leg. The cabin temperature readout blinked a warning. 42 degrees C outside, and the internal temperature was dropping rapidly as life support systems failed. Need to get the emergency kit, Noah gasped, his breath visible in the freezing cabin. With trembling hands, he unlatched his harness and immediately collapsed to the floor. Looking down, he saw the source of his pain. A jagged piece of metal had pierced his thigh, blood slowly seeping around the edges. The sight made him dizzy, but survival training kicked in. Don't remove the object, he reminded himself, crawling toward the emergency locker. The locker door was jammed. Noah pulled with all his strength, pain shooting through his injured leg, but managed to wrench it open. Inside was a thermal blanket, emergency beacon, medical kit, and survival rations. He grabbed the thermal blanket first, wrapping it around his shoulders. The emergency beacon was his next priority. With shaking hands, he activated it, hoping against hope that someone would pick up his distress signal. The odds were slim. Keltara 7 was uncharted territory, far from established trade routes. This is Noah Wilson of Earth Transport Vessel Horizon. Ship down on Keltara 7. Injured, life support failing, requesting immediate assistance. As he finished the transmission, a particularly violent shiver ran through his body. The cold was becoming unbearable, and the ship's systems showed no signs of recovery. The wound in his leg continued to bleed, and he felt lightheaded. Noah's survival training was clear on this point. In extreme cold, with no immediate rescue, find shelter and conserve body heat. The ship was rapidly becoming a metal coffin as its temperature equalized with the frozen world outside. He needed to prepare for the possibility that help wouldn't arrive quickly. Noah dug through the emergency kit for painkillers, injecting himself with a dose before carefully bandaging around the metal shard in his leg, stabilizing it as best he could. The medical scanner in the kit gave him a grim readout: moderate blood loss, early signs of hypothermia, and potential internal injuries. He needed professional medical help soon. Hours passed. The temperature continued to drop, and Noah's thoughts became increasingly sluggish. Despite the thermal blanket, he couldn't stop shivering. The emergency beacon continued its silent plea into the void, but no response came. As darkness fell outside, Noah made a desperate decision. The ship was becoming too cold for survival. He needed to find natural shelter where he might conserve heat better. From his viewport, he could see what appeared to be a rock formation not far from the crash site. Gritting his teeth, Noah gathered the survival supplies into a pack. Moving was agonizing with the metal still embedded in his thigh, but he managed to crawl to the emergency exit and force it open. The blast of cold that hit him stole his breath away. The air was thin, but breathable. At least the atmospheric readings had been accurate. Snow swirled around him as he took his first step onto the alien world, immediately sinking knee-deep into powder. Each step was torture as Noah trudged through the snow toward the rock formation. The metal in his leg shifted with every movement, sending waves of pain through his body. Blood leaked from the wound, leaving a crimson trail behind him. By the time he reached the rocks, his extremities had gone numb. He found a small cave-like opening, just large enough to crawl into. Inside, at least, he was sheltered from the wind. Noah's vision blurred as he tried to set up a small emergency heater from his kit. His fingers were too numb to operate the controls properly, and after several failed attempts, he simply huddled deeper into the thermal blanket. His thoughts turned to Earth, to the family waiting for his return. They wouldn't even know he was missing yet, not until he failed to check in at the next colony. By then, it might be too late. As his consciousness began to fade, Noah remembered something his grandfather, an Arctic researcher, had once told him. In extreme cold, the body sometimes entered a state of suspended animation. Indigenous peoples of the North had stories of individuals surviving impossible cold by essentially hibernating. It wasn't scientific, just old folklore, but as Noah felt himself slipping away, he embraced the idea. Perhaps if he surrendered to the cold instead of fighting it, he might survive long enough for rescue. With that thought, Noah Wilson closed his eyes and allowed the cold to take him. He dreamed of warmth and voices, strange, melodic voices speaking a language he couldn't understand. In his dream, blue hands with 6 fingers touched his face, his wounded leg. There was light, too bright, and movement. Temperature critically low for human physiology, cardiovascular system showing signs of failure. Remove the foreign object from the femoral region. Prepare cellular regeneration. The hibernation state is unusual. I've never seen a human survive these conditions. The voices filtered through Noah's consciousness, pulling him from the depths of his frozen slumber. Pain returned in waves, particularly intense in his leg. He tried to open his eyes but found them sealed shut. The specimen is regaining consciousness. Administer sedative. Something cold pressed against Noah's neck and warmth flooded his veins. The darkness claimed him again. The next awakening was gentler. Noah felt warmth surrounding him, a stark contrast to the biting cold he remembered. His eyelids fluttered open to reveal a room bathed in soft blue light. He lay on what appeared to be a medical bed, but unlike any he had seen before. The surface molded to his body, supporting him perfectly while emitting a gentle heat. Around him, machines hummed and displayed scrolling symbols he couldn't comprehend. But the most startling sight was the figure standing at the foot of his bed, studying what appeared to be a holographic display of human anatomy. The creature stood nearly 7 feet tall, with blue-gray skin that seemed to shimmer slightly under the lights. Its head was elongated with no visible hair and large almond-shaped eyes that were solid black. Instead of a nose, it had 2 small slits, and its mouth was smaller than a human's, almost hidden in the structure of its face. 6-fingered hands manipulated the holographic display with practiced ease. Noah tried to speak, but his throat felt raw and unused. He managed only a croak, which immediately caught the alien's attention. Those black eyes turned to him, and the alien tilted its head slightly. When it spoke, the sound came not from its mouth, but seemed to emanate from a small device attached to what Noah assumed was its throat. "You are conscious. This is unexpected. Our calculations predicted another 12 hours of recovery." The words were in perfect English, though the cadence was strange, each syllable precisely measured. Noah tried again to speak. "Where am I?" The alien approached, picking up what looked like a scanning device from a nearby table. "You are in the medical facility of the Keltara research station. I am Dr. Zyvex, chief xenobiologist." The scanner hummed as it passed over Noah's body. "Your vital signs have stabilized, though your core temperature remains lower than our reference values for humans. This is puzzling." Noah glanced down at his body. He was covered in a thin, metallic blanket, and various sensors were attached to his chest and arms. His injured leg was encased in some sort of transparent casing filled with a glowing blue gel. My leg. The metal fragment severed your femoral artery, Dr. Zyvek stated matter-of-factly. By all medical understanding, you should have exsanguinated within minutes. Instead, your reduced core temperature slowed the blood loss significantly. The state of suspended animation you entered is not documented in our human physiological database. Noah tried to process this information. How long have I been here? 3 standard cycles since we received your distress signal. The alien made an adjustment to one of the nearby machines. Our exploration team found you partially buried in snow inside a rock formation. Your body temperature had dropped to levels that our medical texts indicated would be fatal to humans. I should be dead, Noah murmured. Yes, Dr. Zyvex agreed bluntly. This is why your case is of particular interest. The director will want to speak with you now that you are conscious. As if on cue, the door to the medical bay slid open. Another alien entered, similar in appearance to Dr. Zyvex but with darker skin and wearing what appeared to be a more elaborate uniform. Director Kelnar, Dr. Zyvex acknowledged with a slight bow of his head. The director approached Noah's bed, studying him with those unsettling black eyes. Noah Wilson of Earth, you have created quite a stir in our research community. Noah attempted to sit up but found himself too weak. I don't understand. What happened? Director Kelnar gestured, and the bed automatically adjusted to elevate Noah's upper body to a sitting position. Your species is not unknown to us, though direct contact has been limited. We maintain this research outpost to study Keltara 7 unique geological properties. When we detected your ship's descent, we dispatched a team to investigate. Thank you for saving me, Noah said, genuinely grateful despite his confusion. Your thanks are premature, Director Kelnar replied. While Dr. Zyvex has stabilized your condition, your recovery is far from certain. The damage to your tissues from the extreme cold is extensive. And there is another matter of concern. The director turned to Dr. Zyvex, who activated another holographic display. It showed microscopic organisms moving rapidly. Your body contains pathogenic microorganisms unknown to our database, Dr. Zyvex explained. They appear dormant in your current state, but as your body temperature returns to normal human parameters, they are becoming increasingly active. Noah felt a chill that had nothing to do with his physical condition. Am I sick? You are a carrier, Dr. Zyvex clarified. These organisms exist in symbiosis with your system but could potentially be harmful to non-human biologies. This is one reason we have kept you in isolation. Noah looked around, suddenly noticing the sealed nature of the room. Am I quarantined? A necessary precaution, Director Kelnar stated. Our immediate concern, however, is your medical condition. Dr. Zyvex believes that returning you to normal human temperature too quickly may be fatal. Dr. Zyvex stepped forward. The state of suspended animation you entered appears to have preserved your vital functions during extreme cold exposure. This is not a documented human ability. Most concerning is what we observed when attempting to warm your core temperature. The alien doctor manipulated controls, and a recording appeared on the holographic display. It showed Noah's body convulsing as medical equipment sounded alarms. Your cellular structure began to deteriorate rapidly once we raised your temperature above what would be considered hypothermic for humans, Dr. Zyvex explained. We were forced to reduce your core temperature again to prevent catastrophic organ failure. Noah struggled to comprehend. Are you saying I can't warm up without dying? That is our current assessment, Director Kelnar confirmed. It appears that whatever allowed you to survive the extreme cold has fundamentally altered your physiology. Your cells have adapted to function at lower temperatures. How is that possible? Noah asked, feeling panic rise in his chest. Dr. Zyvex made a gesture that Noah interpreted as the alien equivalent of a shrug. Unknown, we have several theories. The most plausible is that your emergency medical kit contained compounds that, when combined with the unique atmospheric composition of Keltara 7, triggered a hibernation response similar to that observed in certain Earth mammals. Noah remembered injecting himself with the painkillers before venturing out into the snow. Could those drugs have caused this? What happens now? He asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Director Kelnar exchanged a look with Dr. Zyvex. We have contacted Earth's Interstellar Diplomatic Corps. They are sending a medical team specialized in human physiology. However, given the distance, they will not arrive for at least 15 standard cycles. 2 weeks, Noah translated automatically. Can I survive that long in this state? Your vital signs are stable at your current temperature, Dr. Zyvex assured him. However, we must maintain strict environmental controls. Any significant increase in your body temperature could trigger cellular degradation. Noah looked down at his hands, noticing for the first time their bluish tinge. Is this permanent? Neither alien immediately answered, which was answer enough. We do not know, Director Kelnar finally said. This condition is unprecedented in our medical records. The human specialists may have more insight. Noah closed his eyes, trying to process the reality of his situation. Stranded on an alien research station, unable to warm up without dying, waiting for help that was still weeks away. You should rest, Dr. Zyvex advised. Your body is still recovering from significant trauma. We will continue to monitor your condition and adjust your treatment as necessary. As the 2 aliens turned to leave, Noah called out, Wait, my ship. Was anything salvageable? Director Kelnar paused. The wreckage has been recovered. Your personal effects are being stored. Once the quarantine protocol is complete, they can be returned to you. After they left, Noah was alone with the soft hum of the alien medical equipment. The reality of his situation began to sink in. He was alive, against all odds, but trapped in a state of artificial hibernation, his body having adapted to the cold in ways that defied explanation. He tried to flex his fingers, noting the stiffness in his joints. The wound in his leg no longer pained him, but he could feel the strange sensation of the alien healing gel working on his tissues. The experience was surreal, like being underwater but still able to breathe. Over the next few days, Noah's condition remained stable as long as his body temperature was maintained at what would normally be considered dangerously hypothermic for humans. Dr. Zyvex visited regularly, running tests and adjusting his treatment. Through these interactions, Noah learned more about his alien saviors. The Keltarans were a space-faring civilization that had established diplomatic relations with Earth nearly 30 years ago, though contact remained limited. They were primarily scientists and explorers, with a particular interest in extreme environments. Keltara 7, with its sub-zero temperatures and unique mineral composition, was a perfect research location for them. Your species fascinates us, Dr. Zyvex commented during one examination. Humans are remarkably adaptable, yet surprisingly fragile. You lack protective exoskeletons, have minimal resistance to radiation, and require narrow temperature ranges for survival. Yet you have expanded throughout your solar system and beyond. We're stubborn, Noah replied with a weak smile. Indeed, perhaps it is this stubbornness that has allowed you to survive conditions that should have been fatal. Noah learned that the Keltarans had a naturally lower body temperature than humans, which made the research station uncomfortably cold for human standards even before his condition. This was fortunate, as it meant the entire facility could be maintained at temperatures that kept Noah stable. On the 5th day, Director Kelnar returned with news. We have received a transmission from the Earth medical team. They have reviewed the data we sent regarding your condition and have suggested a potential treatment protocol. Noah felt a surge of hope. They know what happened to me. They have a theory, Director Kelnar clarified. They believe you may have experienced a rare reaction to the combination of medications in your emergency kit, specifically the interaction between the synthetic opioid painkillers and the emergency stimulants. Dr. Zyvex, who had joined them, added, according to their data, there have been documented cases of humans entering states of suspended animation after exposure to certain drug combinations, though none as extreme as yours. Can they reverse it? Noah asked, the question that mattered most. They are bringing specialized equipment designed to gradually recalibrate your cellular function, Director Kelnar explained. The process will take time and carries significant risk, but they believe it is possible to restore your normal temperature tolerance. How much risk? Noah pressed. The two aliens exchanged glances again, a gesture Noah had come to recognize as discomfort with delivering bad news. The Earth physicians estimate a 63% chance of success, Dr. Zyvex finally stated. The alternative is to maintain your current state indefinitely, which would require you to remain in strictly controlled environments. Noah considered this. Living the rest of his life in what amounted to a freezer, never feeling warmth again, never returning to Earth except perhaps in some specially designed cold chamber. The thought was unbearable. I'll take the risk, he decided. I can't live like this. Director Kelnar nodded. We anticipated this decision. Dr. Zyvex will begin preparing your system for the transition protocol. When the Earth medical team arrives, you will be ready to begin treatment. In the days that followed, Noah underwent a series of treatments designed to strengthen his cellular structure. The alien technology was impressive far beyond what was available on Earth. Microscopic machines were introduced into his bloodstream to reinforce cell membranes and repair damaged tissues. Dr. Zyvex also addressed the issue of the mysterious microorganisms in Noah's system. We have determined they pose no threat to our biology. They appear to be a form of extremophile bacteria that thrives in cold environments. We believe they may have entered your bloodstream during your exposure on the planet's surface and have actually contributed to your survival by producing compounds that protected your cells from freezing. So I'm hosting alien bacteria that like the cold, Noah summarized. And they helped keep me alive. A simplified but essentially correct assessment, Dr. Zyvex confirmed. The Earth medical team will need to determine whether these organisms can be safely removed from your system or if they have become a necessary part of your biology. As the days passed, Noah's strength gradually returned, though he remained confined to the medical bay. He was allowed to move around the room, testing his newly healed leg. The Keltaran regenerative gel had worked wonders, leaving barely a scar where the metal had pierced his thigh. Director Kelnar arranged for Noah to have access to entertainment and communication systems, allowing him to record messages to be sent back to Earth. The knowledge that his family would know he was alive brought immense relief. 10 days after his awakening, Noah was sitting on his bed, watching a holographic display of Keltara 7's surface when an alarm sounded throughout the station. The lights in the medical bay flickered, and emergency symbols appeared on the display screens. Dr. Zyvex rushed in, moving with more urgency than Noah had yet seen from the normally composed alien. "What's happening?" Noah asked, alarmed. "A severe ice storm has damaged the station's primary power core," Dr. Zyvex explained, quickly checking Noah's vital signs. "The backup systems are engaged, but they cannot maintain full environmental control throughout the facility." Noah immediately understood the implications. "The temperature." "Yes, we must relocate you immediately to a secure area where temperature can be maintained at your required levels." Dr. Zyvex activated a floating gurney. "Please lie down, we must move quickly." Noah complied, and Dr. Zyvex efficiently transferred him to the gurney. As they exited the medical bay, Noah could see Keltaran staff rushing through the corridors, carrying equipment and speaking rapidly in their native language. "How bad is the damage?" Noah asked as Dr. Zyvex guided the gurney through the station. "Significant." The primary cooling systems for the reactor were compromised by ice formation. Director Kelnar is implementing emergency protocols, but repairs will take time. They passed through several security barriers, descending deeper into the station. Noah could already feel the temperature beginning to rise slightly, causing an uncomfortable tingling in his extremities. "Doctor, I'm feeling strange," he warned. Dr. Zyvex glanced at the monitoring devices attached to Noah's bed. "Your core temperature has increased by 0.3 degrees. Still within tolerable parameters, but we must hurry." They reached a heavy security door that Dr. Zyvex quickly accessed. Inside was a small, sterile chamber that appeared to be designed for specimen storage. The walls were lined with containment units, and the air was noticeably colder. "This is our biological preservation vault," Dr. Zyvex explained, transferring Noah to a larger containment unit. "It has independent environmental controls and power supply. You will be safe here until the station systems are repaired." "How long will that take?" Noah asked, watching as the alien doctor adjusted the settings on the unit. "Unknown. The damage assessment is ongoing." Dr. Zyvex connected Noah's monitoring devices to the local system. "I must assist with the emergency response. This chamber is secure, and your vital signs will be monitored remotely. Do not attempt to leave, as the temperature outside this room will be dangerous for your condition." After Dr. Zyvex left, Noah found himself alone in the dimly lit vault. The containment unit was surprisingly comfortable, molding to his body much like the medical bed had. The temperature was perfect for his altered physiology, cold enough to maintain his cellular stability, but not so cold as to be uncomfortable. Hours passed with no word from the Keltaran staff. The monitoring systems continued to function, displaying his vital signs and the environmental conditions. Through a small viewport in the door, Noah could occasionally see emergency lights flashing in the corridor outside. After what felt like an eternity, the door to the vault slid open and Director Kelnar entered, wearing what appeared to be protective gear. "Noah Wilson, I apologize for the isolation. The situation has been more severe than initially assessed." "What happened?" Noah asked, sitting up in his containment unit. "The storm damaged multiple systems simultaneously," Director Kelnar explained, approaching Noah's unit. "We have stabilized the reactor, but the environmental controls throughout most of the station are offline. The temperature in most sections has risen to levels that would be hazardous to your condition." "What about Dr. Zyvex? Is everyone okay?" There were minor injuries among the staff, but no fatalities. "Dr. Zyvex is coordinating medical response." Director Kelnar checked the readouts on Noah's unit. "Your condition remains stable, which is fortunate. We have received another communication from the Earth medical team." "Are they still coming?" Noah asked anxiously. "Yes, but there has been a complication. The storm that damaged our station is part of a larger weather system affecting the entire northern hemisphere of Keltara 7. They cannot safely land until it passes." "How long?" "At least another 5 cycles." Director Kelnar's expression was unreadable to Noah's human eyes, but his voice carried a note of concern. "The greater concern is our ability to maintain this preservation vault at the necessary temperature. The independent systems were designed for short-term operation." Noah felt a cold that had nothing to do with his physical condition. "How short-term?" "Based on current power consumption, approximately 3 cycles before the independent generator fails," Director Kelnar stated bluntly. "We are attempting to divert power from non-essential systems, but the damage to the station's infrastructure is extensive." "So in 3 days, this room warms up and I die," Noah said flatly. "That is one potential outcome," Director Kelnar acknowledged. "However, we are exploring alternatives." "What alternatives? You just said the Earth team can't land for 5 days." Director Kelnar moved to a control panel on the wall. "There is another option, though it carries its own risks. We have cryogenic preservation pods designed for long-term biological sample storage. They could maintain your required temperature indefinitely, operating on minimal power." "You want to freeze me completely?" Noah asked incredulously. "The process is not the same as freezing," Director Kelnar clarified. "The preservation fluid replaces blood and other bodily fluids temporarily, preventing cellular damage from ice crystal formation. It is similar to the hibernation state you naturally entered, but more controlled." "Has this been done on a human before?" "No," Director Kelnar admitted. "The technology is designed for tissue samples and small organisms. However, Dr. Zyvex believes it can be adapted for your specific case. Your already lowered body temperature and the presence of the cold-adapted microorganisms in your system make you a uniquely suitable candidate." Noah considered his options, which seemed to be narrowing by the minute, And if I agree to this, cryopreservation, when would I be revived? Upon arrival of the Earth medical team who would oversee your revival and subsequent treatment. And the risks. Significant, Director Kellner stated honestly. The process has never been attempted on a being of your size and complexity. There is approximately a 40% chance of successful revival without permanent damage. Noah closed his eyes, processing this information. The odds weren't good, but they were better than the certain death that awaited him if the preservation vault's temperature controls failed. What does Dr. Zyvex think? Noah asked. Dr. Zyvex believes it is your best chance for survival given the circumstances. The doctor also points out that your previous survival of conditions deemed impossible for humans suggests you may have better odds than our calculations indicate. Noah thought about his family back on Earth, about the life he wanted to return to. The choice was clear, even if the outcome wasn't. All right, he said finally, let's do it. Director Kellner nodded. I will inform Dr. Zyvex to begin preparations immediately. Within hours, Dr. Zyvex returned to the vault with several assistants, all wearing protective gear. They brought with them a large cylindrical pod that they positioned next to Noah's containment unit. The cryopreservation process requires several stages, Dr. Zyvex explained as his assistants prepared equipment. First, we will administer a compound that will protect your cellular structures. Then your blood will be gradually replaced with preservation fluid. Throughout this process, your core temperature will be slowly reduced further until metabolic activity ceases entirely. Noah watched the preparations with a mix of fear and fascination. Will I be aware of any of this? No. You will be sedated before we begin. From your perspective, you will simply close your eyes and then awaken when the process is reversed. One of the assistants approached with a tray of equipment that included several vials of blue-tinged liquid and injection devices. These compounds are based on the biochemistry of the microorganisms we found in your system, Dr. Zyvex explained. They produce glycoprotein compounds similar to natural antifreeze proteins found in some Earth organisms adapted to extreme cold. Noah nodded, trying to appear calmer than he felt. How long will the whole process take? Approximately 4 hours for the preservation phase. The duration of your preservation will depend on when the Earth medical team arrives. As the preparations continued, Noah recorded one final message for his family, which Dr. Zyvex promised would be transmitted to Earth. Then, with everything ready, the alien doctor approached with the sedative. Noah Wilson, on behalf of the Keltaran Science Directorate, I wish to express our admiration for your resilience and courage. We will do everything in our power to ensure your successful revival. Thank you, Doctor, Noah replied, for everything you've done to keep me alive. The sedative was cold against his neck, and within moments, Noah felt consciousness beginning to slip away. His last thought was of snow, not the deadly cold of Keltara 7, but the gentle winter snowfalls of his childhood on Earth, where cold meant play and wonder rather than danger. Darkness claimed him, and Noah Wilson slept. The revival was nothing like falling asleep. Consciousness returned in fragments, flashes of sensation, snippets of voices, moments of awareness that dissolved back into darkness. Noah felt cold, then pain, then nothing, then cold again. Blood pressure stabilizing, heart rate increasing to normal parameters. Core temperature responding well to the gradual increase, no signs of cellular degradation, brain activity returning to normal human patterns. He's coming around. When Noah finally opened his eyes, the faces looking down at him were human. A woman with dark skin and close-cropped hair smiled as she noticed his awareness. Welcome back, Mr. Wilson. I'm Dr. Chen, Chief Medical Officer of the Unsk Mercy. Can you understand me? Noah tried to speak but found his throat too dry. Dr. Chen offered him a small amount of water through a straw, which he gratefully accepted. Yes, he managed after moistening his throat. I understand. Where am I? You're aboard our medical transport vessel. We arrived at the Keltaran research station 3 days ago and have been working to safely revive you since then. Dr. Chen checked readings on a monitor beside his bed. Your vital signs are stabilizing nicely. Noah tried to process this information. The cryopreservation, it worked. Remarkably well, actually. The Keltaran preservation technology, combined with the unique properties of your adapted physiology, created nearly perfect conditions for suspended animation. Dr. Chen made some adjustments to the equipment. We've been gradually warming your body and replacing the preservation fluid with your own blood, which the Keltarans kept properly stored. And my condition, the cold adaptation, Dr. Chen's expression became more serious. That's been the challenging part. The microorganisms that Dr. Zyvex identified have indeed integrated with your cellular structure. We've been working to gradually recalibrate your temperature tolerance while maintaining cellular integrity. Is it working? Noah asked anxiously. Yes, though more slowly than we'd hoped. Your current body temperature is still well below normal human standards, but we've been able to raise it by several degrees without triggering the degradation response. Noah looked around the medical bay, noticing the clearly human design of the equipment. How long until I can go home? That depends on how well your rehabilitation progresses, Dr. Chen replied honestly. We'll continue the warming protocol during our journey back to Earth. By the time we arrive, we hope to have your temperature stabilized at a level that, while still below normal, will allow you to function in controlled environments on Earth. So I'll still need to stay cold? Noah asked, disappointment evident in his voice. For the time being, yes. But we're developing a treatment protocol that should gradually restore your normal temperature tolerance over time. Dr. Chen smiled reassuringly. The good news is that your case has provided valuable data that might help others with similar conditions. There are others like me. Not exactly like you, no, but there are medical conditions that affect temperature regulation, and your experience has given us new insights into potential treatments. Dr. Chen checked something on her tablet. There's someone who'd like to see you if you're feeling up to it. Noah nodded, curious, and Dr. Chen stepped out briefly. When the door opened again, Dr. Zyvex entered, now wearing what appeared to be an environmental suit designed for warmer temperatures. Noah Wilson, it is gratifying to see you conscious again. The Keltaran's translator conveyed the words with the same precise cadence Noah remembered. Dr. Zyvex, I didn't expect to see you here. I volunteered to accompany the Earth medical team as a consultant regarding your unique condition, the alien explained. The research opportunity is unprecedented. Noah couldn't help but smile at the Keltaran's scientific enthusiasm. Thank you for saving my life, twice. Your survival has been instructive. The adaptation you exhibited challenges our understanding of human physiological limits. Dr. Zyvex approached Noah's bedside. The storm that damaged our station has passed and repairs are nearly complete. Director Kelnar sends his regards and has requested that I convey an invitation. Invitation? Noah asked. Once your condition stabilizes and your Earth physicians approve, the Keltaran Science Directorate would welcome your return to our facilities as a research consultant. Your unique adaptation to our world's conditions makes you exceptionally suited to assist with our studies. The offer took Noah by surprise. You want me to come back, to work with you? Your experience bridges our understanding of human physiology and extreme environment adaptation. Such collaboration could benefit both our species. Dr. Zyvex tilted his head slightly. Additionally, our facilities are maintained at temperatures that would accommodate your current physiological requirements more comfortably than most Earth environments. Noah considered this unexpected opportunity. His life had been irrevocably changed by his crash landing on Keltara 7, but perhaps that change could lead to something meaningful rather than just limitation. I'll think about it, he promised. Once I'm fully recovered. That is satisfactory, Dr. Zyvex responded. I must return to assist with final calibrations of the temperature regulation system. We will speak again before reaching Earth. After the alien left, Dr. Chen returned to continue monitoring Noah's recovery. Over the following days, Noah's strength returned as his body adjusted to the gradually increasing temperatures. While still far below normal human range, his core temperature stabilized at a level that allowed him greater comfort and mobility. 2 weeks into the journey back to Earth, Noah received the news he had been hoping for. Dr. Chen entered his room with a broad smile. "Mr. Wilson, I have good news. The latest cellular scans show significant adaptation to the higher temperature range. The treatment protocol is working more effectively than we anticipated." Noah sat up eagerly. "Does that mean I'll be able to return to normal eventually, based on your current progress?" "Yes. It will take time, possibly several months of carefully controlled temperature adjustments, but we believe you will ultimately regain normal human temperature tolerance." Dr. Chen showed him the scan results. "The microorganisms are gradually being replaced by your body's natural flora as your temperature increases, without triggering the degradation response we feared." Relief washed over Noah. "So I won't have to live in a freezer forever." "No," Dr. Chen laughed. "Though you might find you prefer cooler environments even after full recovery. Your experience has fundamentally changed your physiology in ways we're still learning about." Noah thought about Dr. Zivex's offer. The idea of working with the Keltarans, of using his unique experience to build bridges between their species, appealed to him more than he had expected. "Dr. Chen, if I wanted to return to the Keltaran research station after my recovery, would that be medically possible?" She looked surprised by the question. "Theoretically, yes. Once your temperature tolerance is restored, you could safely travel there with proper preparation. The Keltarans would need to adjust their environment somewhat for human comfort, but that's certainly possible." She studied him curiously. "Are you considering Dr. Zivex's offer?" "I think I might be," Noah admitted. "This experience has changed me not just physically. I've seen things, learned things that few humans ever will. It seems a waste not to use that knowledge somehow." Dr. Chen nodded understandingly. "Well, first things first. Let's get you fully recovered, and then you can make decisions about your future." As the Unsk Mercy continued its journey back to Earth, Noah found himself looking forward rather than back. His ordeal had nearly killed him multiple times, yet somehow he had survived against impossible odds. The human who had slept under snow on an alien world had emerged transformed but alive. When he finally reached Earth 3 weeks later, Noah was able to walk off the ship under his own power. The doctors had provided him with a specialized cooling suit to maintain his still lower than normal temperature requirements, but it was a temporary measure. The recovery protocols were working, and each day brought him closer to full restoration. His family greeted him with tears and embraces, marveling at his survival story. Noah shared the sanitized version of events, leaving out the more terrifying details of his near-death experiences. 6 months later, Noah Wilson stood in the departure lounge of the Interstellar Transport Terminal, preparing to board a ship bound for Keltara 7. His medical clearance had finally come through after his temperature tolerance had been fully restored to normal human ranges. Though the cold-adapted microorganisms had been gradually replaced in his system, his experience had left him with a unique understanding of Keltaran biology and environment. Dr. Chen had come to see him off. "Your final medical scans look perfect," she assured him. "No residual temperature sensitivity, normal immune response, complete cellular integrity. Medically speaking, it's as if it never happened." "Except for the memories," Noah replied with a smile, "and the research papers with my name on them." The scientific community had been fascinated by Noah's case, and the collaborative papers published by the human and Keltaran medical teams had advanced understanding of human adaptability and extreme environment survival. "The Keltarans are lucky to have you," Dr. Chen said. "Not many humans would choose to return to the planet that nearly killed them. It also saved me," Noah pointed out. "In a way, I found something on Keltara 7 that I never expected: a new purpose." As the boarding announcement came over the intercom, Noah picked up his bag. Inside was a special cold weather kit, though he no longer needed it for survival. Old habits died hard. "Safe travels, Mr. Wilson," Dr. Chen said, shaking his hand. "Try not to sleep under any snow this time." Noah laughed. "Don't worry, I think once was enough for that particular experience." As he boarded the ship bound for Keltara 7, Noah reflected on the strange journey that had brought him to this point. The human who had crashed on an alien world and should have died in the cold had instead found a new path forward. The alien doctors who had warned of death in the cold had become colleagues, and in the case of Dr. Zyvex, something close to friends. Noah Wilson took his seat on the transport ship, ready for whatever adventures awaited him on the icy world that had forever changed his life. This time he was going by choice with proper preparation and knowledge. This time the cold would be a workplace, not a threat, and if, someday, he found himself caught in another snowstorm on that distant world, Noah knew he wouldn't need to fear. He had slept under the snow once and lived to tell the tale. Some experiences changed you forever, and his dance with death in the frozen wastes of Keltara 7 had taught him that human adaptability extended far beyond what anyone had previously imagined possible.